दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमः योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ. So we have completed chapter 6 and we are seeing a summary of the 6th chapter of this Pancadasi, and there are several topics. The first topic is from verse number 1 to 70, in which Vidyaranya gave a condensation of the entire Vedanta. We can call it as a Vedanta Sarah, essence of the Vedanta. And well, he for that purpose, he has introduced an example of a chitrapata, a painted canvas or painted cloth, you can say. And through that example, well, he talks about the 4 levels of Brahman, like the 4 levels of painting, starting from the canvas, pure canvas, and then, well, it is dipped into the starch, the second stage. Then there are outlines, drawings, and that is the third stage, lanchita pataha, and the fourth stage is you fill up the color in that. So, and you get a painting. So these are the 4 stages for a painting. Same way, the first, here in Brahman also there are 4 stages. From Brahman, how this whole painting called world has come. So first is a Shuddham Brahman, without even Maya. That's the first thing, like a pure canvas. Like here also we have a pure Brahman, like that. I mean without Maya. And then second step is, well, Hiranyagarbha. Ishvara, I'm sorry. Second step is Antaryami or Ishvara. Well, I mean along with the Maya. Third step is Hiranyagarbha, well, in which the subtle prapancha, the subtle world has come, like an outlines on that canvas, marking on the canvas. And the fourth thing is then, well, definitely the world as such we call Virat Brahman, in which you get varieties of the names and forms with all attributes, varieties of the attributes also. So for that, I mean, to explain this thing, that Brahman is a Jagat Karanam, he has taken that example of a Chitra Pata, and from which this chapter is called Chitra Deepa Prakaranam. Anyway, but basically he wanted to convey one thing, that out of these 4 steps, like first thing is, as I told you, it's a Dhauta Pata, means clean cloth or a pure canvas. Then the second is a starch cloth, third is a marked cloth, fourth is a painted cloth, right? Out of even 4 clothes we say, only one is real, and that is canvas is real. Everything is, well, ultimately based on the canvas. Whether you dip into the starch or whether you draw certain things, when you mark some things, or when you fill up the color, ultimately everything is impossible without canvas. And so canvas alone is a reality. Rest 3 are actually mithya. Same way here also, Brahman and then Brahman plus Maya, and then, well, from Maya the subtle world comes, and then all the entire gross prapancha comes and everything. That's true. But the reality is Brahman alone. Everything is just a mithya, that's without all the other three things are not possible. Even Maya is totally non-separate from Brahman, and the subtle world, well, which comes out from the Maya also is non-separate from Brahman, and then, well, grossification and the gross world comes out, well, that is also non-separate from Brahman. Brahman is the reality, Brahman is the basis, Adhishthanam, and other three things are mithya. So, like in Mandukya, three padas are mithya. They say Turiya is the reality, same way. Anyway, and well, he also wanted to convey that here also, indigenous point is basically whatever the drawing, whatever the people are there in the paintings, let us say. And I gave you example of a cricketers. Well, so you even fill up the colors for the dresses of the cricketers. They have their specific dresses when they are on the ground. Anyway, so these varieties of the dresses are there. The dresses are also, there is a variety in the dresses, but canvas is a one cloth, and then what cricketers wear is another cloth. Don't say that. Whatever the cloths are there, the cricketer have, well, they are nothing but the canvas. And therefore, ultimately, so same way, all these jivas, basically, Abhasa Chaitanyam, well, basically they are many and they have a varieties. But ultimately, the basis is Brahman alone. One Brahman alone appears in the form of all the jivas. So, Abhasa Chaitanyam, well, they are basically many. Adhara Chaitanyam is one. That's what he has introduced, Adhara Chaitanyam, Abhasa Chaitanyam. Adhara Chaitanyam is Adhisthana Chaitanyam, Brahman. Abhasa Chaitanyam, Ahankara, Jiva, etc. So, jivas have a variety. Same way, like the dresses. 22, suppose 20 cricketers are there, well, 20 dresses are there. So, that the plurality is there, different attributes are there, everything is there. But actually, when you analyze all the dresses in that painting, which cricketers have, there is one canvas alone. There is nothing other than that. And same way here also, all jivas. Look, there are plurality also, varieties also, everything. But if you analyze, you will find one Adhisthana Chaitanyam, that is Brahman. And so he introduced this so that we can do Viveka between Ahankara and Brahman, or Jiva and Brahman. But that, even though, there are many, but ultimately it is Mithya. So basically he wanted that kind of the entire Vedanta is this, right? Adhar Chaitanyam, Abhasa Chaitanyam, Viveka. Or Ahankara Sakshi Viveka, you can say. Ahankara Kutastha Viveka, you can say. That's the main thing. And so he has introduced through this example of a painted canvas. And then, this is the first topic between verse 1 to 17. Then the second topic is from verse, it's an expansion of now the same topic, but he introduced the expanded topic in 3 verses, 18 to 21, by giving an example of an Akasha, Chaturvida Akasha, fourfold Akasha. There it was fourfold canvas, painting. And this is fourfold Akasha. Same thing. He wanted to explain Ahankara and Sakshi, and or want to he wanted to clearly distinguish this Ahankara and Sakshi, etc. So, for that purpose, he has taken another example now. So, in this verse 18 to 21, he introduces another example of Akasha. So, fourfold Akasha. What are the fourfold Akasha? Well, Gata Akasha. So, a space occupied by the pot. And then Jalakasha, space reflected in the water of the pot. And then Mahakasha, this Mahakasha, all pervading Akasha. And Meghakasha. Meghakasha means space reflected in the water of the clouds. Right? And so, fourfold Akasha he has introduced, in which, of course, Ghatakasha, well, is original. And the reflected one, Akasha is which is there in the pot, or which is there in our clouds, because water is there. So anyway, so 2 original space and 2 reflected spaces, and in that also micro and macro, naturally. So Micro Akasha is, original Akasha is which is in the pot. Micro reflected space, that is in the water of the pot. Then same way macro Akasha is this Mahakasha. And macro reflected space is nothing but the Akasha gets reflected, space reflected in the waters of the clouds. That's very bigger. And so that is macro reflected space. Same way he says, well, micro original consciousness. Yeah, we have to use this kind of word. Micro original consciousness is consciousness obtained within the body. And micro reflected consciousness is consciousness reflected in the individual mind. Well, and same way macro well, original consciousness means the all pervading consciousness, Brahman, and macro reflected consciousness is consciousness reflected in the Maya medium. So this fourfold, with the help of fourfold Akasha, he has introduced fourfold consciousness as such, in which two are original, two are reflection. So micro original consciousness he gave a name of a Kutastha, and micro reflected consciousness he gave a name of Ahankara, Jiva, etc. Macro original consciousness he gave a name of a Brahman, and macro reflected consciousness is Ishvara, Ishvara Chaitanyam. So this is how Kutastha Chaitanyam and Jiva Chaitanyam, Ahankara, it is at the level of micro, and at the level of macro, Brahman and Ishvara. So with the help of fourfold Akasha, well, he has introduced fourfold consciousness between verse number 18 to 21. And then he started this Kutastha Jiva Viveka. That's what his purpose was. So from verse number 22 to 103, this is the third topic now. From verse 22 to 103, well, he shows how to do a Viveka between Kutastha and Jiva, or Kutastha and Ahankara, or a Sakshi Ahankara Viveka, you can say. Normally we use this word, Sakshi Ahankara Viveka. And that Viveka is essential because there is Aviveka. Aviveka is there because there is Ajnanam. Well, Ajnanam is there, and therefore a non-discrimination between what is what. Anatma is taken as an Atma. So Ahankara is just a reflection, which is Anatma. Even though it appears conscious, but it is not conscious actually, it is reflected consciousness. We call Chidabhasa actually it is. By nature it is not. And that is possible due to consciousness alone. And therefore consciousness of course is a reality, but then this Chidabhasa is unreal. Anyway, so Sakshi Ahankara Viveka he wants, because everyone takes oneself to be Ahankara or a Jiva only. One doesn't know one's real nature as a Sakshi. And therefore, well, he introduced this Viveka in this from verse number 22 to 103. And of course, Kutastha, what is a Viveka? Kutastha is a limitless or a divisionless, attributeless. Whereas the consciousness manifest in the mind, which called reflection, well, they are plural, limited, because as many minds, so many reflections, so many ahankaras, ahamvrittis. So anyway, so Jiva Chaitanyam is a reflection, so plural, limited, attribute with lot of attributes. That's how, because depending upon the mind has a gunas, so ahankara also will be guna, having a guna, satvika ahankara, rajas ahankara, tamas ahankara, etc. Anyway, and well, it is subject to karmas also, sanchita karma, prarabdha, etc., everything. And so Kutastha has nothing to do with any karma. Kutastha is one, divisionless, limitless. Kutastha is free from all attributes, whereas Jiva is having all attributes. They are many, they are limited, and they are subject to karmas and etc. And they go from one body to other body. They travel. Kutastha never travels because it is limitless. Where will it go? So this kind of division. Anyway, and well, then he says, well, and this kind of a mixture has happened. Ahankara is there, and the Kutastha also is there. Everyone is basically a mixture. And a person, when he talks, also it is very clear that it is a mixture. And also he basically Vidyaranya makes a point revealing his skill about a language. Very beautifully, he said that. He said, well, when you say, I myself have gone to New Jersey. So what is this? I myself means what? And then he says, look, the other sentence. Himself has gone to New Jersey. She herself has gone to New Jersey. And the stone itself fell down on the ground. So you see, what is common? What is I is not he. What is he is not she. What is she is not it. So that is not common in all the four sentences. What is common? The self. Right? The self is common. And therefore that what is limited as I, or what is I is not he, what is he is not she. What is limited must be Abhasa Chaitanya, Chidabhasa. And therefore there are many also. And where is the self which is common in all, must be the basis of all. And therefore he says that myself, etc. The self, well, is Adhar Chaitanya. So when persons utter certain sentence itself proves it is a mixture. So you don't take yourself as ahankara because the very basis of ahankara called kutastha or sakshi is right there. It reveals through the words of a person. It is revealed. And therefore, he has used word aham for I, etc. and saha and etc. etc. And for self, he has used word swam. So, well, he says, and not only he said very beautifully that the self goes even with the insentient things also, because you said the stone itself fell down on a ground, means it is stone is a achetana, and that self also well goes with the sentient things also, because you say he himself has gone to New Jersey. So therefore it goes with the sentient things also, it goes with the insentient also. That must be the Adhara Chaitanya. That must be the Brahman actually. But Swamiji, you have never used word, you are using word Kutastha. I am coming to that. Kutastha and Brahman are one thing alone. But my point is, ultimately it is all pervading. Pervades sentient, insentient, everything. So very beautifully he said the word swam, self. It pervades sentient, insentient, everything you are using in the sentence. And that must be the Adhara. It is one alone. Whereas I, she, he, it, etc. they exclude each other and therefore they are all limited. That must be the Abhasa Chaitanyam, etc. And therefore everyone is actually a mixture. So don't take yourself just as that. I am a jiva. That is my reality. Don't say that. Well, there is something which is common in all, and that is the basis of everything, from which even the ahankara arises, etc. And so may you do this kind of a viveka between Abhasa Chaitanyam or ahankara and sakshi. Actually, in reality, you are a sakshi, and this Abhasa, etc. are mithya. So we have to know clearly the difference between jiva and kutastha, or ahankara and kutastha, ahankara and sakshi. Anyway, and then he explained also that this Abhasa Chaitanya, etc. is mithya. And this is called Tvam Padartha Viveka. He is explaining even Mahavakya. He is explaining just Mahavakya only. In that he has taken Tvam Padartha Viveka. What is Tvam? What is the reality of Tvam? Not Ahankara, but Kutastha. That's what he says. So what is Ajnanam? Well, when I say Tvam, you take a direct meaning of Tvam as Ahankara, and that you take it as yourself as a Jiva. Well, that is a Vachyartha. What we want to convey is that, well, through that Tvam Padartha, Vachyartha, Tvam Pada Vachyartha, through the direct meaning of the Tvam called Jiva or Ahankara, we are really pointing it to the Adhara, well, which is reality of that Ahankara also, and that is Kutastha. So Tvam-pada Lakshartha is what? Kutastha. Tvam-pada Vachyartha is what? Jiva, Ahankara, Abhasa Chaitanya, etc. So this is how he explained. So Tvam-pada Laksha is a Kutastha. So out of this Tattvamasi, that equation is possible, we know very well. This equation is possible when you take a Lakshartha. Because just Vachyartha, well, cannot be equated. Jiva and Ishvara cannot be equated. We know it also very well. The attributes of Jiva and attributes of Ishvara are just opposite. So, well, if you take a direct meaning of a Tvam and Tat, they will never be, the equation is not possible. So, well, ultimately we will have to go to Lakshartha. Means Lakshartha means not pointing something. Otherwise, Guru becomes a signpost, So, well, he says like this. you go in this direction, the Brahman is there. It's not like that. It's not a, all Guru becomes signpost otherwise. It is not like this. Basically, you should understand. See, the Lakshartha is what? When I utter a word pot, there are two people who have heard this word, pot. One understands by hearing the word pot, one understands as a clay and one understands as a pot. Clear? Is it clear? One understands pot. When I utter the word pot, he understands pot, means with that shape and everything. Other understands it as a clay. So I will say that person has taken Lakshartha. That's all it is. Simple, not pointing and all this, all pointing. They say like that. Lakshartha means, well, you hint and point and it's indicate. Nothing of an indication or nothing. One understands the reality. That's all. Same word. But pot has a two meaning. One is a direct meaning and one is an implied meaning. We call implied meaning is you understand what is real in that. That's all it is. Simple. And so the pot by word, if you understand a pot, means you have not understood what is the reality of the pot. That's a Vachyartha. When I utter a word pot and you understand it as a clay, I say you have taken implied meaning, that's a Lakshartha, and that is the reality. So Tvam Pada also Vachyartha is what? Ahankara, Jiva, individual. That's what we say. Tvam, 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 Tvam. You or I, whatever. But when I utter a word Tvam, well, instead of understanding as an individual, you understand the truth of the individual, truth of the Ahankara, which is Sakshi, then I will say you have taken a Lakshartha. That's all. That's all. But in Lakshartha, we have to take the Bhagat Tyaga, etc. But the Bhagasya Tyaga happened. That's how it is. Bhagasya Tyaga. In individual, well, definitely, well, the body, etc. also you will include. Otherwise, how will you call yourself as an individual if you don't add the three bodies into that? At least two bodies, subtle body and gross body. So remove that. So that's called Bhagasya Tyaga. So you remove the part of it. Why should we remove it? That's Mithya. We have already seen that. And therefore, Lakshartha, when you take, definitely you are removing a portion of that total meaning from that direct meaning. And then you get an implied meaning. That's all it is. Anyway. Then the fourth topic. This is what was there in between verse number 22nd to 103. Tvam-pada Lakshartha, Tvam-pada Vachyartha, Ahankara Sukkutastha. Now the fourth topic you can understand now. Tatpada will come. 104, verse number 104 to 209. In which now another Viveka. Brahma Ishvara Viveka. Between 22 to 103, Jiva Kutastha Viveka, Ahankara Sakshi Viveka, or Tvam-pada, analysis of a Tvam-pada, let us say. And now, analysis of a Tat-pada. And here it is Brahma Ishvara Viveka, in which you will understand what is Ishvara, what is Brahman. So here also Vidyaranya elaborately talked about Ishvara. Ishvara also is Abhasa Chaitanyam. And Vidyaranya discusses elaborately about, because Abhasa means a medium should be there. So like Antakarana is a medium where consciousness manifests, we call Ahankara. Same way here also now macro medium, Maya, in which the consciousness, same consciousness Brahman manifest. Well, we call it as a Ishvara. And therefore, he elaborately discuss about medium, Maya, between verse 125 to 151. So, the topic is Tatpada Vichara, analysis of Tatpada is between 104 to 209. In that, verse 125 to 151, he discusses exclusively about Maya, which you won't find such a discussion everywhere. Earlier also in the second chapter or somewhere it came, we have seen that my discussion on Maya, certain verses. Here also now he has talked about, and he said what is Maya, what is the nature of Maya. Sad Asat Vilakshanam. We said that also. Sat means existent, Asat non-existent. Maya is something which we cannot call it non-existent. Maya is something which we cannot call it existent, and therefore it is between existent and non-existent. Well, we can take it as a seemingly existent. because it's an experienced, and therefore we will take it as existent, but at the same time on analysis it won't be there, and therefore it becomes non-existent kind of a thing. Anyway, so it is seemingly existent, and therefore he says this Maya is of the nature of this seemingly existent, which on inquiry will disappear. And for that matter, well, he gave example, very beautiful example of a magic show also, and we also saw that. So, and then he, after talking about that medium, now he says about the reflected consciousness or manifest consciousness in the Maya medium, and that is Ishvara. So he talks about Ishvara, and for that purpose he plucked a mantra from Mandukya. I think the sixth mantra, Eshaha Sarveshwaraha, Eshaha Antaryami, Eshaha Yonihi Sarvasya, etc., etc., Eshaha Sarvagnaha. And so, four glories of Ishvara he talked about. He explained also every glory. What is Sarveshwara, what is Sarvagnya, what is Sarvasya Karanam. Yoni means Karanam. What is meant by this? He is a cause of everything, etc. And he explained elaborately that part also. Anyway, so when you talk about the reality of Brahman in Ishvara, well, what is Satyam, what is Mithya? We know that Ishvara is Mithya, being Abhasa Chaitanya in Maya, and Brahman is the reality. And then, very interestingly, he talked about a free will also. Because Sarvagnya, Sarvashaktiman, etc., he came, right? Antaryami and everything. So he is the inner controller of everything. Oh, if he is the inner controller, then what about our free will? We feel that we are free. But you say he is a controller and sitting inside everyone's heart and everything. While describing Ishvara, that we saw that Esha Antaryami, oh, he is an inner controller. Then we don't have any free will? No. Then, well, he says we have a free will, and Ishvara's role also is there, and our free will also has a role. Both have a certain jurisdiction. And therefore, well, whatever the situations come in your life, well, Ishvara is a Karanam for that. And you are also Karanam. Your free will is a Karanam. Your Karanam means your karma. Karma means free will. So both are Karanam. Ishvara is a Samanya Karanam to bring in various situations in your life. Ishvara is a Samanya Karanam for your body. Ishvara is a Samanya Karanam for your mind, senses, everything. Is Samanya Karanam. But Vishesha Karanam of your body, of your mind, of your situations in a life, everything, your karma is responsible, free will is responsible. And therefore your free will also has a role, Ishvara has also a role. And that is how he explained very beautifully what is the role of free will, etc. And anyway, ultimately this is Brahma Ishvara Viveka. Ishvara is a Mithya, Brahman is Satyam. That is a Tatpada Lakshartha. Tatpada Vachyartha is this Sarveshwara, Sarvagnaha, Antaryami, Sarvasya Karanam, Ishvara. That's a Vachyartha. So this is how the fourth topic. Well, now you understand. Tatpada Lakshartha Brahman, Tvampada Lakshartha, that is Kutastha. Right? Now combine. What is combination? Anyway, the fifth topic is between 210 to 246, in which Kutastha Brahma Ikyam. Kutastha is a Tvampada Lakshartha and Brahman is a Tatpada Lakshartha, and Aikyam is oneness, that is Asi. Right? So, an Aikyam means not a union. We have to understand very well. It's actually one indivisible entity known by two different names. That's all it is. Two names are not because of two divisions. But one, so our observation of a one entity through two different angles, through different upadhis. Simple. From micro upadhi, you look at the same entity, you will call Kutastha. Same entity, when you look at from the macro upadhi called Maya, well, you call it as a Brahman. Same thing. So basically it is a Nama Vedaha Natu Vastu Vedaha. Like one and the same person we say, father, son, uncle, etc. Not that head is a father and leg is a son and the stomach is a brother-in-law or nothing like that. So one entity alone, basically. But look from different upadhis. Micro upadhi, well, we call Kutastha. If you include micro upadhi, it is Vachyartha, understand that. If you exclude upadhi, it becomes Lakshartha. And you should understand that very well. So basically, micro upadhi, antakaranam or subtle body or avidya or whatever. If you include in the Brahman, well, it becomes Jiva or Ahankara. If you exclude, then it is just Brahman. And we call it Kutastha because we have looked it from the standpoint of a Upadhi. Anyway, and from Maya Upadhi's standpoint, well, if you include Maya along with the Brahman, it becomes Ishvara. But if you exclude Upadhi through Bhagatyaga Lakshana, well, definitely it remains Brahman. So this is how Kutastha and Brahman are not two entities, it's a one entity, having two names because of the two standpoints, from the two standpoints of two Upadhis, micro and macro. Anyway, so Kutastha Brahmanaha Vedaha Nasti. There is no division between, and therefore Tat is equal to Tvam only. This is how he derived the whole equation. Anyway, and we also discuss one more point in that. Basically, if between because this question was this, Kutastha and Brahman has no Veda, correct? What about Jiva and Ishvara? Well, there is a Veda. Jiva and Ishvara has a Veda. Kutastha Brahman has a no Veda. Well, then he said, this is, you are highlighting Veda also and you are highlighting a Veda also. And therefore you are Veda Vedavadi. Ye kya baat hai? Therefore, so basically, that also we discussed. Well, this Vishishtadvaitini is basically later. Before Ramanujacharya came, Veda Vedavada was there with that Bhatru Prapancha, etc. Don't think Ramanujacharya has started this Veda Vedavada. In fact, Vishishtadvaitam is a kind of a Veda Vedavada. But Veda Vedavada was there even at the time of Shankaracharya also. Ramanujacharya came much later than Shankaracharya ji. And then Ramanujacharya ji little modified that Veda Vedavada, which we call it as a now Vishishtadvaitam. And Vishishtadvaitam also it is appear Jiva and Ishvara has no Veda and Jiva and Ishvara has a Veda, and like that they have explained. But anyway, so they are charging us with this Veda Vedavada because you say Jiva and Ishvara are different. You cannot equate Jiva and Ishvara. Well, they are different. Yeah, we said they are different. And Kutastha Brahma, they said no, there is no difference. So, well, you are accepting Veda also and you are accepting Veda also. So, you are Veda Vedavadi, he says. So, well, we said, well, Jiva is Mithya. Please listen to us, we say. Jiva is Mithya, Ishvara is Mithya, and therefore the division between Jiva and Ishvara also is Mithya. Veda between Jiva and Ishvara also we accept, but it is Mithya Veda. Well, whereas Jiveshwara Veda, we accept it as a Mithya Veda. It is like a difference. The difference between Jiva and Ishvara is like a difference between a man and woman in dream. It's like a difference between man and woman in dream. So in dream, there is a difference. While dreaming, you see man as a man and woman as a woman. They are not one. But basically, they are Mithya. So Veda is there, yet Mithya Veda. It's a dream difference actually, not real difference. Same way, this Jeev Jagat Ishwar Veda, Vyavarika Veda you called, or Mithya Veda you called. Ultimately, all the three have a one Adhara Chaitanyam, because of which all the three are there, because of which all the three shine, etc., etc. And that is Brahman. That's the reality of either a Jiva, Ishvara, or Jagat. That's what we say. So this is verse 210 to 246. The sixth topic is between 247 to 289, in which Vidyaranya talked about various disciplines. So he talks about various sadhanam, because the student asked a very peculiar question, which is really a question in most of the seekers' mind. And that is, I understand everything very well. I understand Tattvamasi very well. And well, yes, I am Brahman. I am telling you, oh teacher, I am telling you I am Brahman. But then, well, if I am Brahman, I should have, and this is called Brahma Jnanam. Yeah, this is Brahma Jnanam. If you say I am Brahman, this is Brahma Jnanam. But I don't have a benefit of Brahma Jnanam. You said by Brahma Jnanam, you gain moksha, Brahmavit Paramapnoti. So by knowing this Brahman, you get limitless, or you get moksha, become free from the fear and sorrow and this and that. And well, but I don't find such a difference. So Jnanam is there, but Jnana Phalam is not there. What? And therefore, what do you say about that? So you and you also promise, and Shastra also promise, that one who gains this Brahma Jnanam will be free from samsara, will gain limitless, etc. But I have a knowledge. You explain me Mahavakya, I can explain you in the same words, even better than your words. Still, So knowledge I have, I don't have Jnana Phalam. So that was the thing. And then Vidyaranya says, well, means he says, how can I am not able to claim the freedom, even though knowledge is there? Vidyaranya says, even after understanding Vedanta, well, you continue to judge yourself from the standpoint of mind. What can I do? You should judge yourself from the standpoint of the self. Because I am talking about the self. Self is Brahman. I have not told you mind is Brahman. But you said everything is Brahman, so mind is Brahman. But mind alone is not Brahman. And if mind is Brahman, everyone's mind is Brahman. Please understand. Are you accepting everyone's mind is yourself, Brahman? No, this mind is Brahman. Well, then that's a problem. Still, so in the mind you have a knowledge. But basically, you are not able to understand. Your knowledge is not pakvam, mature. It's not mature. Anything which is mature give a fruit. This does not give. This doesn't give. So even after understanding Vedanta, well, I am not mind, etc., you continue to judge from the standpoint of mind. And as long as you judge yourself from the standpoint of the mind, you will never, never, never be able to claim moksha. Mind can't be, because mind has certain disturbances, depending upon guna, depending upon karma. The disturbances in guna, it totally depends upon your prarabdha. And so that is how no one's mind is all the time quiet. Sometimes it is quiet, sometimes it is very disturbed, sometimes it is dull. This is going to be there. It's all malin sattva. So all the three gunas, either one of them will be predominant. And therefore, mind can't be perfectly free from the disturbance. And you judge yourself from the standpoint of mind. And so you never find yourself free. And therefore, well, ultimately meditate upon this fact that I am ever free from the mind. My nature is freedom. Whatever kind of a mind is there, whatever kind of a physical body is there, you are free. Same way, whatever kind of a mind is there, you are free. Body is ill means you are not free. It's not like that. All the jnanis have so many diseases. Head also so many diseases. Anyway, so mind also can be healthy, unhealthy. Physical body also can be healthy, unhealthy. You accept that by nature you are free. You are free. What is meant by this you is free in spite of whatever the situation pertaining to non-self. I mean, whatever the status of a non-self. It has nothing to do with the self. The non-self cannot hurt. Non-self cannot affect the self. Because there is nothing other than the self. And moreover, the self is asanga. And therefore this is mithya. Non-self is mithya. And therefore mithya cannot touch the satyam. And therefore accept. Whenever you say, well, particular thing has affected me, well, you have come down to the level of anatma only. And therefore definitely accept yourself as a free. Vidyaranya says, claim your permanent freedom. And well, then when you claim that, you will not say, now I am bound. I have a knowledge, but I am bound, you won't say. You say, I have a knowledge, and you will say, I am free also. And therefore, you can, then what about this mind? But disturbance of the mind does not allow me to enjoy Jivan Mukti. That's correct. Very nice question. So then, basically, well, you want to enjoy Jivan Mukti, then disturbances should be there in the mind. Then let's have a hobby to, of improving the mind, basically. And that is for your benefit as well as for the benefit of the people around. Okay, so improve the mind. And basically, okay, so therefore, let this body, mind, etc., is treated as a Bhagavan's property. I will keep it fit because I am a trustee of this. Now I don't say I am this. I will say I am trustee of this because this all belongs to ultimately Ishvara. And therefore, I am free in spite of this condition of the mind, body, etc. Let me keep them fit. Let me keep them healthy, etc. Okay, I want to keep my mind healthy, free from much disturbances. What should I do? I know I am free. In spite of the condition of the mind, I understand I am free. And well, I claim the freedom. That's fine. I am free. I have moksha. but I want to improve my mind. What should I do? Then Vidyaranya said, well, to improve mind, you should have a three. You should do. Have a three disciplines in your life. First is a bodha, second is a vairagya, and third is a uparama. Well, bodha means jnanam, atma jnanam. Well, that is there, and that is most important also, because then only when if atma jnanam is there, you will look upon the mind as not yet as yourself, but you will look upon the mind as an object. When you look upon the mind as an object, you become objective to the mind. If you become objective to the mind, you can improve much better. If you take it as a subject, that's how a person who is ignorant cannot improve his mind much, because he all the time identifies with the mind. If you are objective, I gave you example of a doctor also at that time. Anyway, so well, if mind, if you become, if you understand the mind as an object, definitely you can improve the objectively the mind. And so basically, and well, if mind has a certain attachment, then then vairagya, basically learn to handle that. And if mind is overactive, well, it will create problem. So detachment, we talked about all this. So to have a detachment, to make it free from the attachments, and uparama, relaxation, well, should be there to improve this mithya mind. And so this he talked about these three things: bodha, vairagya, and uparama. Uparama is quietude. And for in each how will I understand whether I have a uparama or not? I have quietude of the mind. How will I know? So he talked about this hetu, and then swarupa and karyam and avadhi, etc. Right? The cause, how the quietude can arise, and then what is the cause of it, and then what is the effect of the quietude, and then what is the nature of quietude, and what is the limit of quietude. Well, you understand that, and then you understand for vairagyam also. What is the cause of vairagyam? What is the cause of? What is the nature of vairagyam? What is the effect of vairagyam? What is the limit, ultimate, maximum of the vairagyam, etc. So all this. So he talked about hetu, swarupa, karyam, avadhi of all the three: jnanam, vairagyam, and uparama. Well, and then you understand them distinctly, and so try to improve upon. But you definitely improve upon your mind, not taking it as a subject. You are improving your mind, taking it as object, because you have a knowledge, and therefore you can definitely improve. Then Jivan Mukti will be better. If Jivan Mukti will be better, means moksha has degrees? No, moksha has no degree. There is only one Mukti, and it's called Nitya Mukta. You are free, even if you know or if you don't know. If you take this birth or next birth or previous birth or a previous birth, you are free. By nature you are free. You should understand that. Well, that's a Mukti. You are free is a first Mukti. If you understand well, while living, you will say Jivan Mukti. And then Vidya Mukti is a promise given by the Shastra. There is no need to take birth again, ultimately. Okay, so this is the sixth topic between 247 to 289. And the last is verse 290, in which Vidyaranya concludes entire chapter. And he says whoever revises this chapter ultimately, and whoever listens to this chapter, and Mananam also is right there, because so many doubts we have resolved in this chapter. So Shravana Mananam if you do, and then of course one meditates upon oneself, what is what has been told, on the basis of what has been told in this chapter, will gain freedom. I am free and I will become free. So this is how we have completed one of the biggest chapter of the Pancadasi, that is sixth chapter, with a 290 verses. And this next chapter, seventh chapter, is the biggest chapter, not one of the biggest. It has a 298 verses. Just a commentary on a one mantra of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Atmanam chet vijaniyat ayamasmi iti purushah kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anusanjvaret. 298 verses will explain this mantra only. And we'll see that next time. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ